all you need to know about the blockchain. Blockchain technology is perhaps the most exciting technology in the digital world today. Far more exciting than Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, and much more interesting than NFTs. Why? Because none of these other digital advancements could have ever been made without blockchain. Now, you've probably heard of crypto, Bitcoin, and even NFTs in your everyday conversations, listening to the news, scrolling social media, or even watching a press conference given by the president. These digital phenomena are on the radar of everyone from Eminem to Joe Biden, which means they have hit pop culture. But what you likely hear much less about is blockchain. That is because in terms of buying, selling, trading, gambling, and potentially making millions, blockchain is not as sexy as Bitcoin. It is merely the entire foundation upon which Bitcoin and everything else in the crypto world depend. But before we get into that, hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on all notifications to help support our channel. Now let's jump right in. What is blockchain anyway? So, if you want to understand cryptocurrency, NFTs, and potentially everything else digital for the foreseeable future, you should really start with blockchain. Blockchain, by definition, is a decentralized, distributed database that stores information in digital format. Does your brain hurt yet? Let's start at the beginning. The history of blockchain. In 1991, two mathematicians, Stuart Haber and W. Scott Stornetta, wanted to implement a database whose timestamps could not be tampered with. Essentially, a history of transactions could be recorded and never changed. It would be highly secure by its very nature, thus ensuring it would be highly trusted. Blockchain technology could change the future of finance as well as other important aspects of society like healthcare and government. The difference between blockchain technology and all other database systems is that a typical database stores information in tables. A blockchain stores information, as the name implies, in blocks that are then set into an unbreakable chain. Each block has a storage capacity, and when it is filled, it is closed and linked to the block that was filled before it, forming the chain. The history is chronological. It happens fast and it goes immediately into a shared database with anyone else who has access to that particular blockchain, depending on whether it is public or private. Security and power. Thus, if a hacker wanted to try to change one of the blocks for whatever reason, it would first of all require an enormous amount of computational power to do so. It would involve changing not only the hacker's copy of the blockchain, but they would also have to hack into more than 50% of everyone else's copies to change those as well, so that the changed block would show up as the majority and therefore change the history of the blockchain. This hacking process would take an immense amount of time and money because the hacker would have to redo all of the blocks from the one they want changed forward, and they would have to do this for a ton of people's database copies, so that when everyone checked their copies against each other's, they would agree. If a single user's copy stands out as the only one that is the changed blocks, it would merely be discarded as corrupt. The money and resources required to pull off a feat of this size is vastly more than anyone could hope to make by hacking a block to steal something of value. Blockchain and Bitcoin. Now you understand blockchain technology, you understand how cryptocurrency works. Crypto is dependent on blockchain technology, and it is the only reason anyone can trust it. Every single transaction made with crypto is stored using blockchain technology. Thus, if it is indeed hacked and stolen, every time that currency is traded or used for anything, it is tracked. All cryptocurrency has its own unique digital signature, and it is identified immediately by blockchain. Someone cannot simply steal your crypto and go use it somewhere. You can always track it down. In fact, blockchain is the only reason Bitcoin, the very first cryptocurrency, even exists. When Haber and Stornetta first conceived of blockchain, they merely wanted a secure digital database. It was the founder of Bitcoin who realized in 2009 the reach of this application, building the entire platform out of blockchain and making the Bitcoin blockchain accessible to the public. Anyone can mine for Bitcoin, and everyone can see where Bitcoin goes every time it is used. A private blockchain platform would only be accessible to those who are owners of or on the platform. Since Bitcoin, more than 10,000 active cryptocurrencies are now using blockchain technology, and there are hundreds of other blockchains that serve as digital databases for other industries. Decentralization. If you got lost back during the discussion of hackers, decentralization is the key there. With blockchain technology, the information stored in the database is stored across several networks at what are called nodes at various locations. Thus, a hacker can hack into a single node. A person can burn down the building holding a single node, but there are still hundreds and potentially thousands of other nodes that exist with the stored information. Each transaction takes about 10 minutes to complete from start of transaction to that information being verified and then stored in the block, at which point the block is closed. Once the block is closed, its updated history is spread across all those previously referred to nodes. This is what we call decentralization. No mainframe exists to exploit, no central banking system, no master computer. The history stored in blockchain is irreversible. It is the future of technology and databases. The future of technology. Cryptocurrency is already heavily dependent on blockchain. There is no other way to have a completely digital currency that a community of people agrees to utilize. But the future of blockchain is wide and far-reaching. Other industries that are already using blockchain include banking and finance. The implications for banking and finance are obvious. Imagine no hacking, no theft, and completely traceable currency and transactions across banking systems. Imagine even government funds being traced by the public on a public database. It is revolutionary. No more dark money. Healthcare. People's healthcare records could go into a blockchain, which would allow doctors to track their patients' pre-existing histories and provide better and quicker diagnosis and treatment. New information on medicine and practice could also be stored in blockchain. Real estate. Corruption of property records would be a thing of the past, with deeds as well as permits and licensing all stored in blockchain. Smart contracts. A computer code that can be built into the blockchain to facilitate, verify, or negotiate a contract agreement. A smart contract operates under a set of conditions to which users agree. When the conditions are met, the terms of the contract are automatically completed. No reneging on a deal. Supply chains. A boon to business, supply chain managers could track supplies and stay up to date to tell clients when to expect resupplies. You could track origin as well as authenticity. Voting. No more talk of corrupt elections. Blockchain could platform a voting system that tracks every single user and every single vote. The downside. Of course, there's always a downside to everything. With blockchain, the technology is currently not as fast as users would like. 10 minutes to complete a transaction is a long time in the digital world. It also requires a tremendous amount of computational power. One downside some people often reference also is the ability of criminals to use blockchain technology to their benefit. As of now, all of these issues are being worked out by the great minds in the wild web world. For now, we can trust that blockchain technology is not only here to stay, but something we can look forward to revolutionizing the way we think about information and transaction storage.